What is going on, all you Pokemon collecting maniacs out there? This is Ryan, the PikaPikaPaPa, and hold on to your britches. We have a brand new data set that TCG Player has sent out, and I really hope that they continue to do this, because this is the type of stuff that I absolutely love, that I think is really cool, and I also think you all would really enjoy, because really that is the most important part of this. Now, they sent it out in the middle of the week. I was traveling for work, as I always am. I am getting on a cruise tomorrow, so guess what? I will not be able to respond to comments as quickly as I always do, so please bear with me. But the data set was so exciting and so cool, I said, you know what, I have got to shoot this video, and I'm gonna get it in front of you all on a Saturday when I never post a video, but I'm doing all of this because I think it's so awesome. Now, what has got me so excited? Well, essentially, TCG Player is now sending out a list of the top movers at TCG Player. So they send you the cards that have appreciated in value the most over a certain period of time, and this one is from the 1st to the 12th of this month. They didn't send the data out till the 17th, so this is a little bit of a rear view mirror look, but it is still really cool. I think that the cards in here are really fascinating, and I do think that it speaks to kind of what's going on in the hobby right now. Now, some of the parameters that are around this cards, because the list was really long, but what I learned is you and I, we really like cards that maybe they have some gameplay. I get it, we all love playing the game, but this channel really sinks its teeth into cards that are a little bit more on the investing and collecting side of things. So I filtered it to make sure that each of these cards had at least 5 sales. Now remember, this is only over a 12-day span, so I made sure each of these cards had at least 5 sales, so they're moving with a decent amount of velocity. I made sure that they started at a price of over $20, because typically that weeds out a lot of those kind of lower filler game cards and such. And we came up with a really cool list, and I'm telling you right now, all of the cards on this are fire, so I can't wait to share it with you. But what was interesting to me was, I don't know, I expected a whole lot of alt arts on here, right? Or I expected some trainer gallery cards or whatever, but the distribution of cards on this list was pretty even, and what was most interesting to me was 4 of the cards on this list aren't even from the Sword and Shield era. 4 of the cards on this list, 4 cards here that over that 12-day period that gained the most in price are from Sun and Moon. Now, you know that I have been all over Sun and Moon for the last couple months. We aggregate the value of the top 20 singles cards for every set with the booster box, and we know that Sun and Moon has had a very rough 6 months, but guess what? It might be the time that some of them are starting to break out. We've talked about a lot of support lines, so it's really exciting to see all of that thoughts and premise and all of those datas, all those connecting all of those dots, and now we're starting to see so many cards in the Sun and Moon era go up. There is one alt art on this, but that's it. One alt art. There's one card from the XY era, and if you've watched my videos on Megas recently, spoiler alert, it's going to be a Mega card. There's one from Scarlet and Violet on here, and as I said, 4 from Sun and Moon, and then 3 other cards from Sword and Shield, and the lessons from these 3 Sword and Shield cards cannot be overstated. It is so cool. It is so awesome, and again, I just love it when things start to come together like this, and that's why I'm so insanely excited. So as I always say, before we get into the actual cards itself, if you enjoy this type of content, so many of these videos layer into one another. If you enjoy this stuff, these data dives and these trends analysis, hit that subscribe button. We have an amazing community here, and I would love for you to be a part of it. If you like what you see, give us a thumbs up, and if you have questions or comments, drop them down below. I promise I'll get to them, but I'm gonna be floating with a Mai Tai in my hand somewhere. So with all of that out of the way, let's get into some of these really cool cards that are on the list. And as I said, spoiler alert, the number 10 card right here, which started off with a price on 6/1 of $106.77, is this Mega Rayquaza right here, the full art from Roaring Skies. I have said this ad nauseum. I will repeat myself for the millionth time. I am such a huge fan of the Roaring Skies set in and of itself. Booster boxes are like $620 right now. I know that's a ton of money. Trust me, I understand. But I think the XY era and Roaring Skies is absolutely flying under the radar a bit. Now, over that 12-day span, this card increased up to $135.79. What is incredible for me is this is the number 10 card. The number 10 card, right? We have 9 others that increased more, and the number 10 card is still up 27.18%. Now remember, this data graph right here, this goes beyond the 12th. So guess what? It has continued to climb in price since then. It is actually up to $151.65 now. So not only did it have a really good first 12 days of the month, but it has continued on a tear, and it is so exciting to see cards outside of the Sword and Shield space, outside of the trainer galleries, outside of the alt arts start to pop off like this. I really enjoy that, and this is a great card to kick off with. Now, the next one right here, number 9, I told you there's an alt art in here where, guess what? Here it is. You got the Glacon Vmax. Now, this card, I love everything about it. Obviously, PikaPikaPaPa channel. I love me some Pikachu. You got Pikachu that's chilling in the water down there. And on 6/1, this started off at $235. By the 12th, it was all the way up to $300. Another 27% gainer right here. But what is interesting, and if you look at the Sword and Shield video that I have coming out later on, guess what? The Sword and Shield alt art arts. A lot of them are flattening out. Some of them are even starting to come down just a tick, so that's something to keep an eye on. So it increased in value up to the 12th, and it's been holding flat ever since then. But this card, I think, is an absolute stunner. I love the fact, I love the artwork of this card, and I think that's why I get so excited about it, and it's coming in at number 9. Really strong showing. So the next one right here, number 8. Our very first Sun and Moon card, and all of these Umbreon cards from the Sun and Moon base set have just been popping off. I mean, it has been incredible to watch. Now, this one had a really strong beginning to the month, right? Started at 53.38, went all the way up to 68.40, right? At 28% increase over just a 12-day span. That's insane. And then you'll see it has flattened out. But there is another Umbreon full art on there that has been more of a steady Eddie climb up and to the right. And as a matter of fact, when you watch the Sun and Moon video, when we talk about the month-over-month top 20 singles cards, there's a lot of cards in the Sun and Moon base set that for whatever reason, even outside of these Umbreons, that are doing really good. But it's interesting to see this card. We've talked about how Umbreon's getting a whole lot of organic lift because of that Moonbreon card is so absolute fire from Evolving Skies. So it's just really cool to see that kind of transcend down into the other Umbreon cards. And I think that that's a big lesson. That's a big takeaway as we get deeper into Scarlet and Violet and we start figuring out what the big bad cards are going to be from the Scarlet and Violet era. Now the next one right here, coming in at number 7, it's a Sun and Moon promo. And I love the artwork on this card. Look at Mew. Mew's up there having the time of its life, just laughing, having a good old time, annoying the heck out of Mewtwo, and I think that is absolutely fire. I love everything about this card. Now, it started off at $49.60, and you will see that on 12 days, it went up to $65.26 for a 31.5% gain, but guess what? It hasn't slowed down. Not an egregious, not a crazy price spike after that, but it has continued on that upward in the right trajectory. And as I pulled this data, it was up at $67.45. So still working its way on up. I love the artwork. I love this card. I think it's just super cool. And again, love seeing some of these Sun and Moon cards start to kind of pop back up a little bit after they've kind of been kicked around for most of 2024. So love seeing this card. Love the artwork. Next one right here is another one, right? This Sylveon from Evolving Skies. Now, shocker, this is another rainbow card. We just saw an Umbreon Rainbow. Now that was from Sun and Moon base set, and this one's from Evolving Skies. But it's really interesting to see as these alt arts take off and they start to hit these stratospheric numbers, right? I mean, we're talking $200, $300, $400, $500 for these alt arts. We're starting to see the other cards of the same characters start to organically lift up as well. We talked about that as the Umbreon and how that's been able to kind of transcend different eras. Well, we're certainly seeing that within these Sword and Shield sets as well. And again, just another great learning for us as we get deeper into Scarlet and Violet. So this one started off at $44.34, went all the way up to $60.55, but guess what? It has actually been coming down a little bit. You see that tick there at the very end? You'll see that it's kind of held flat at that $60 mark, right? Now it's starting to tail down a little bit. We'll have to see what happens, but hey, over those 12 days, it increased by 36%, and it has still been able to hold on flat at that $60 mark. Absolutely crazy, and that is number 6. Coming in at number 5, another Sun and Moon card, right? This Charizard tag team card, love it to death. And again, when you see these flat lines, a lot of times that's an indication that there's not a lot of price movement, not a lot of these cards being sold. But remember, one of the original filters that I went with was there had to be at least 5 sales over that 12-day period. So hey, it's not slinging every single day, but you still got some good movement, enough to make it relevant. And it started off at $53.58. Then it got all the way up to $73.89, and it's holding flat there. But still, again, another big gainer, up 37% over a span of 12 days. That is absolutely incredible. And then I love to see that it's holding on. Sometimes when we see these crazy price spikes, right, we'll see them shoot all the way up and then immediately come back down because it's some form of buyout. Somebody decided just to buy every single one on TCG Player. When you see stuff like this, when you see it flatten out over a period of a week or so, it tells me that, hey, listen, this was organic growth. People just seem to be filing in on this card. We talk about support lines. It was at $50. The market said, hey, listen, this card is worth more than $50, so people picked it up and we saw it pop off, and now it's holding flat in the $70 range. So really, really cool. Love to see this card doing well. Next one, exact same thing as we talked about with that Sylveon Rainbow from Evolving Skies. Now we have the Leafeon, right? Both of those alt arts are going absolutely stupid in terms of pricing. So then the sister card, the daughter card, the brother card, whatever you want to call it, further down in the list has seen organic growth as well. This one started off just short of $40 at $39.90 on the first, shot all the way up to $56.86. And again, another card that has been able to hold its weight, right? Another one that has been able to hold on to those gains, not a spike and then gonna drop, like another one that is at least flattened out. Now, is that gonna continue over time? I don't know. I personally think Sword and Shield has got to cool off just a little bit, but man, a 42.51% gain over 12 days is absolutely insane, and that's only number 4. So let's get into the top 3 right here. The Chi-Yu right here from Paldea Evolved, and it just seems like everything in Paldea Evolved is clicking. There are so many cards in that set that are going crazy. I have stopped looking at that Magikarp card for a while, and I went and looked at it today as I was pulling data on this card, and it is up to $140. Paldea Evolved is just insane. So who knows? There's going to be a restock at some point. I feel very, very strongly about that. I don't know for sure, but I feel strongly it's going to happen, and when it does, hopefully some of these cards normalize. But I think the strong showing we're seeing earlier on certainly leads to the fact that I think in the long run, Paldea Evolved is going to be a special set. And again, this card started off right over the threshold at about $21 on 6/1, shot all the way up to $37.14. It is giving back a little bit, but it's holding strong, right? It's at the $35 mark right now. So from 6/1 to 6/12, it shot up 77% over the span of 12 days. That is so incredibly cool. And again, we're not starting with $1, $2 cards, right? We're not talking about things like that. We're talking about cards that start off at $20. We're talking about a span of 12 days, and this thing shot up 77%. Absolutely insane. Absolutely out of control. Coming in at number 2, as a huge Gengar fan, you knew this was going to make me smile, and I love the fact that this one from Team Up is doing so well. So it started off at $55, which is an absolute steal for the Gengar and the Mimikyu, right? Like, it's not the biggest and the baddest from the Team Up set, but as we've said ad nauseum, even during this video, like a lot of times the secondary card from the set, or even the tertiary card from the set, with that character that's at the very top that's doing really, really well, will organically lift up in price, and we're certainly seeing that here, right? This was a $55 card. It shot all the way up to $101.79, $101.79, almost 2x, just shy, up 85% over the span of 12 days, which is absolutely insane. I can't even keep a straight face while I say that. That's just absolutely nuts. And it's holding on. It's holding on to those gains. So we're going to talk a lot about Sun and Moon when we get to that, month over month view where we look at the top 20 singles cards. But Sun and Moon is ripe for the taking. We've already looked at a bunch of different cards, and spoiler alert, there is even more out there that have some huge opportunity. Just amazing cards with amazing characters from some of the rarer side of things, right? Versus what we see in Sword and Shield. And Sun and Moon, a lot of those chase cards we see have a PSA 10 population of like 400, 500 at most. Then you get into the Sword and Shield era and you have PSA 10 populations of 7,000, 8,000, 10,000. As we always say, like, the population is only one side of the coin. That's the supply. The demand is really the most important part, and at least for now, the demand for those alt arts and Sword and Shield is there, so the prices are really strong. But I love a lot of these Sun and Moons for all of the reasons that I just said. Low population, awesome art, and I think they're absolute fire. Coming in at number 1, the Blaziken. Again, just another example of where the Blaziken, obviously in Chilling Reign, that alt art card is the big bag chase card. We're doing a video later on this month, actually I think it's the beginning of next month when I'm going to do it, where we look at the alt art cards that have moved the most over the first 6 months of 2024, and spoiler alert, the Blaziken alt art from Chilling Reign is somewhere near the top. It is a really strong year, and then you see this card, which is performing really well. Again, I'm not going to beat the horse. You know my thoughts on this. You know the why. I think it's really cool that we're seeing a lot of these secondary, tertiary cards from the Sword and Shield block that are doing really well, as the alt arts are doing really well as well. So this one started off at $25.65, shot up to $48.37, almost a 90% gain over 12 days. And again, another great example where not only is it held on to it, this one is actually going up a little bit in price. It's almost at $52 right now. So for me, this is awesome information. I love this. I think this is so incredibly cool. I hope you do as well. I hope you like it enough to hit that subscribe button. If you haven't already, I hope you enjoyed it enough to hit that thumbs up button. And if you have questions or comments, I hope you drop them down below. Those 3 small things go a long way in helping my small channel out. I really appreciate it. And I hope the TCG Player keeps feeding us this data, because this would be really fun to talk about. I don't know, hopefully twice a month. It would just be fire if we could do that. So I hope you guys have a great one. I appreciate you more than I can say. Thank you so much for watching. And I'll be in touch. So have a good one. See you later, everybody. Bye.